Hello everyone, welcome to Gosport Railworks. My name's James and today we're doing another product showcase video. This time we've got 3 sets of products, which is a LSWR H1 and H2 class, the ex-LCDR push-pull coaches, which are just here, and also my LSWR block set coaches. So I'll pop them over there and I'll pop the locomotive over here and we'll get through the ex-LCDR coaches first. So these are quite easy to put together because there's not really much to put together. But yeah, they start off like this one. So the first things you have to do is take off the support. So you just clip that on the inside on both axles, and that's pretty much most of it done. You've done 90% of the work already. Actually, it's probably a bit more than that. Well, a bit more to do, which is you need to paint it, glaze it, and then you've pretty much done most of the work then. The only other thing to do is pop the wheels in and pop a coupling pocket on each end. Then it's all done. And just may need to smooth down the coupling pocket spots. Other than that, that's all it. And they end up as rather nice looking coaches. Unfortunately, I haven't painted them yet, but yeah, they are free rolling. I have been testing out doing 4 and 6 wheel coach axles for quite a while, and I'm quite glad they have turned out quite nicely. So they are all done. Oh, and put it on the underframe, which is very easy. You paint it black, and then you stick it on the bottom. There, that's done. Next one is the LSWR block set train. So these are a bit more interesting. Well, these are interesting as well. They're used on the Isle of Wight Steam Railway and still in use. These ones are a bit more interesting in how you couple them together. So they start off the same way, that they have supports between the axles, cut them off, and then you've done most of the, well, physical work. Again, you need to file down where the coupling pockets will go. Though that would actually only be on the ends which have the buffers on, because these are a fixed set of coaches, which means you do actually have some little hooks, well, hook loops on the end. So you basically just thread a little bit of wire between them, and yeah, they will end up being a fixed train. So they will end up like that permanently. But otherwise, you paint it, you glaze it, you add the couplings on just the coaches with buffers on. Otherwise, you just couple them up together with a thin bit of wire or string, whichever preference you feel like. And then finally add the wheels on. And yeah, the middle axle is quite easy, just pop in and out. You may need to put a little bit of plastic card over there just to make sure it stays in, but otherwise it rolls quite nicely. However, these may not be suitable for very tight radius curves. I have tested it on sub second radius, but not on first radius. So I do not recommend recommend them having them using them on first radius curves. But otherwise, yeah, they're coaches and they work perfectly fine as they are. And finally, the H2 and H1 class from the Brighton company. Now this, I've been really looking forward to making, and that's turned out quite nicely. This is a modified 5MT chassis like I normally end up using. And yeah, as you can see, it's been modified a fair bit. The tender is as is. You don't have to do anything like that. Just use the file for now. Most of the work is around the drive wheels. So what I did is I swapped the drive wheel of the back axle with the front axle because I wanted the traction tire still on the locomotive. So that was a bit of a faff around with that. I've then cut off the coupling rod just here, remove the rear wheel, and this is actually a M7 M7 bogie wheel. In fact, it's actually half a M7 bogie. Can't remember the name now. Well, bogie really, because I basically cut it in half and then start filing it down and basically wedged it in here. It wasn't meant to be glued in there, but yeah, as I was filing it down, I kind of wedged it in there too well, and it's staying in there, well, quite nicely. And yeah, then strip down the coupling rods to the bare basics really. So yeah, and that actually works perfectly fine. It has no issues running like this. Trying to come out. Make sure you stay in there. But yeah, otherwise the 5MT chassis has no issues running with one wheel missing. Still has plenty of power, and yeah, goes around quite nicely. The only thing which you may need to do is smooth down the top of the... Oh, and you do have to cut off the front of the chassis here. I mentioned that. Yeah, it doesn't need to cut off right there, right in front of the cylinders. So that's basically smooth there. But other than that, you do need to file down the tops of the cylinders, and also as much as you can of the the support there, just to try and get this down as much as you can. Otherwise it does ride a little bit too high, about a millimetre or two. I think it is just a millimetre, but still looks a bit odd. You can pop that there. Actually it's about 2 millimetres, so yeah. Other than that, it runs perfectly fine as is. And all you have to do is paint it, and yeah, that's it. So yeah, that's going to be it for this month for new things. So let me get them onto my turntable and tell you a bit more about the prototypes, and then I can get them onto my layout and show you some of them going around the layout. So yeah, I'll see you in a bit. 4 ex-LCDR 6-wheel coaches were converted for use on the Isle of Wight line. So in 1924, the Southern Railway had them sent to Lancing Works in Sussex for conversion to push-pull operation. The vehicles lost their centre pair of wheels, with the saloon brake third becoming a push-pull driving trailer coupled with the unaltered saloon composite. In this configuration, the train could be driven from the leading carriage, with the fireman remaining in the locomotive. Each pair had a driving and trailing vehicle as 2 pairs for push-pull operation. In 1928, an extra gangway connection was added to the loco end, possibly with the intention of adding extra coaches. However, the sets were then transferred to the Isle of Wight when ex-rail motor coaches became available. They worked mainly on the Mirstone Ventnor West branch, although they did also work occasionally on the Freshwater and Bembridge lines. They were used up until 1938 when other coaches replaced them, but the bodies of set 484 survived, with both carriage bodies sold out of service to become bungalows. 4112 at Greenwich Mass and 6369 at Newtown. Both bodies were eventually acquired by the Isle of Wight Steam Railway and returned to service, mounted on former Southern Railway parcels van underframes. The reformed set 484 is now in regular passenger service on the Isle of Wight Steam Railway as standard loco hauled coaches, as currently the railway has no push-pull fitted locos. Although there is a desire to fit at least one of the 2 terriers with push-pull fittings as they did in the past, and to bring the set into full operational condition. The London, Brighton and South Coast Railway H1 and H2 classes were both a class of 442 steam locomotive for express passenger work. They were designed by D.E. Marsh and were built by Mears, Kitson and Company in 1905 and 1906 for the H1 and 1911 and 1912 for the H2. Prior to taking up office as the locomotive superintendent of the LSWR in 1905, Marsh had worked for the Great Northern Railway at Doncaster Works. There was an urgent need for new large express passenger locomotives for the LSWR, and so he obtained a set of drawings of the large boilered Atlantics of the C1 class from Doncaster, and made only detailed amendments before ordering 5 of them from the manufacturer. He did, however, increase the boiler pressure from 195 to 200 psi and altered the cylinder dimensions. In 1911, Mars was on leave of absence due to sickness, and his assistant, Lawson Bennington, was granted authority to construct a further 6 Atlantic locomotives similar to the H1 class, but incorporating the Schmidt superheater to become the H2. Later, this modification was carried out by Maunsell of the Southern Railway during 1925 and 1926. Both classes soon proved to be successful, working the London to Brighton Express trains, including the heavily loaded Pullman services, the Brighton Limited, and the Southern Belle, which the LBFCR described as the most luxurious train in the world. The H1 class had been withdrawn by 1951, with all members of the class being scrapped, with the H2 following a few years later in 1958. No examples of the H2 class were preserved, but the Bluebell Railway reconstructed a replica of locomotive 32424 Beatsy Head, the last original H2 class. The London South Western Railway employed the use of block trains on many of its suburban routes during the 19th century. By the end of the century, many block trains were comprised of old-fashioned stock compared to the new mainline vehicles that were coming into service. In January 1900, it was agreed to replace some of the old block trains. Thus produced were a new set of 6-wheeled carriages which were similar to the electrical roof mainline bogie vehicles. Each train was to consist of 4 firsts, 2 seconds, 2 composites, 4 thirds, and 2 brake thirds. Although the coaches were ordered and built as 6 14-car and 2 13-car trains, they were commonly run as sets of 13 coaches. Since the coaches were electrically lit, there was little reason to go onto the roofs, so the steps were only provided under brake third coaches. The coaches were quickly superseded, and indeed by 1913 the Waterloo Carriage Working Notices list a number of suburban services operated by 9-coach sets. In 1918, 24 firsts were extracted from the sets to form into 3 10-car race sets, as the LSWR served many of the racetracks such as Ascot, Epsom, Sandon Park, Hurst Park, and Kempton Park. By now, the ordinary sets had no first-class accommodation. At grouping, there were 12 9-car sets in operation, which seemed to consist of 6 normal 9-car sets and 6 sets made of 4-car and 5-car sets. As the 1920s progressed, vehicles were drawn as repairs became less economical. When the sets were finally drawn between 1913 and 1933, their formations were very non-uniform. Right, here we are, the H2 class, and also all the coaches now on my layout. And yeah, they do look quite nice there. Just to mention that, yeah, the still runs a little bit high, but yeah, that's well, I have to deal with that for now. And yeah, if people did notice, the valve gear on this side is naff. Can't remember if I did mention it, but just to make sure, that's because I damaged it. But yeah, here are all the coaches. So this is the full 6-coach LSWR block set all done. Yeah, very happy with that. Only one of them has got wheels. It's not that one. It's got this one. And yeah, as you can see, I sort of carefully push it around. It will go around sub radius 2, but not radius 1. So yeah, do take that into account. If you want something for radius 1, well, these coaches will probably do. And they run quite nicely as well. Probably need a bit of weight in them, but that's up to your personal preference. Right. Let's get the H2 running as well. As I said, it uses a 5MT chassis like most of my stuff do. And even with the rearranged wheels and also the M7 wheel at the back, it does run quite nicely, and it will go over my double slip. Maybe a bit shaky, but there we go. Let's give it a little bit more speed. There we go. It does run generally well. And here it comes. Yep. I think I've got a dead spot there. Oh, track's mucky. Probably track's mucky. Ooh, and it's about to go too far. Yeah. So it runs generally well. And yeah, that's pretty much it really. Pricing. These, they'll be £17 a pair. So for a single set, it's £17 because they're only little 4-wheel coaches. But if you want the full lot, that is £34. That's all 4 coaches. So not too bad for 4 coaches. For all of this lot, I can't remember the price. I will pop it down in a caption below if I remember. If not, it'll probably be somewhere. I think it's on the range of about, I want to say about 60 to 70. I can't quite remember the price of the block set at the moment. That's for a 6 coach block set. Because this will either come in a set of 6, as you can see here, or a set of 10, which is the brake ends and also double coaches in the middle. If you want a specific arrangement of coaches, do let me know so I can print them all off together. But yeah, I think it's probably around that because yeah, that actually makes better sense. It's around £60, I think, because well, it's 6 coaches, and obviously when you get to 10 of them, it'll probably be about 90 odd quid, 90 odd pound. The H2 or H1, depending which one you want, that will be £23 because it's a fairly large tender engine and it's set on the 5MT chassis, which is how I judge the price of that one. Anything which is set on the chassis I tend to put at £23 because it's a fairly large tender engine. But yeah, that's pretty much it really. So yeah, I'm happy how they turned out. I do want to make a LSWR block set and actually put it in LSWR colours, because that will look quite nice. Or maybe put it in southern colours. Probably southern colours, because I have still got some southern engines, if it focuses, still some southern engines which could, well, I say southern liveried engines which could do with some coaches behind it. Yeah, very happy with how it's turned out. Anyway, that's going to be it for me. So if you do like the video, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. And if you didn't like the video, well, I hope you enjoyed it anyway. Well, yeah, that's it for me. Do let me know what you think about all of it down below. I said I do hope to make, well, my 4 and 6 wheel coaches for my generic lot to have their own wheels, well, their own chassis. So you just need to buy couplings and wheels. But yeah, I'll see how it goes first. I'll still need to double check that this works perfectly well. These work as they are. But anyway, yeah, that's going to be it for me, and I'll send the H2 off on its way. So here we go. Hopefully it behaves itself. There we go. Yeah. Anyway, take care now. Bye-bye. Wait for it to get us off.